Aye. Be the Plume goons to start down, need permission, I stay real with it. Lay one foundation, know it's gon' build, bro, I been biddle with it. Your homeboy check the cash out, smart contracts for the cash out. Everybody want smoke till I turn the dare, show you where the house at. Just on the block.
What is going on, everybody? This is Underdog Research channel. I'm here with you. We're going to get down into it today. We're going to have a great conversation. This is going to be a casual conversation. Today, we're going to talk about Plume Network. This is community questions. Now, every once in a while, and I think I probably should do it more, I will get with you and I will share with you what I see on my platform on a daily basis. I make videos. Currently, at the time in which you're watching this, I have over 700,000 views. I've been doing this about 5 years, and I get a lot of comments. Sometimes the platforms I'm on don't show all the comments. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. But either way it goes, I think it's important that we talk about these things, that we better understand these things, and see how we can leverage it to help us blow up our bank accounts, if we will. Now, I'm going to share with you today comments that you as the community have left on my platform. And it's going to be specifically about the Project Plume. Now, before I do all that, let me give you my disclaimers. You know, I gave you my disclaimers. Let's first talk about this right now. I am not a financial advisor. You should listen to this for researchable facts. Now, I don't go into speculation. I give you research over the hype. However, today is a little bit different because I'm going to be providing you my perspective, me, and tell you exactly how I see it. But I'm also going to share with you things that I've researched with it. Now, if you're okay with that, I also encourage you to put this on your big screen TV. Let me come into your house. Let me come into your house and let me help you to see this. This is very visually intensive, so it's going to help you if you put this on a big screen. Now, if you're ready, let's get into it, folks. So, Plume Network. Some of you know that a few months ago, I started talking about this not very talked about project. In fact, there's hardly anybody who was talking about this project. Fast forward a few months later, it went to exactly where I said it would go. It would go into Coinbase. It would get listed. And how did I find that out before anyone else talked about it? It's because I saw the connections. I saw the big backers. I saw who was working behind the scenes. I didn't look at price action. I looked at the researchable information. Now, today, though, I want to talk to you about questions that you had. Now, am I a part of the Plume team? No, I'm not. I am a researcher. And I put together my cyber background, my investigation background, and I put it all together to help you see information that may help you as you do your own research about these projects. But you ask questions. And if you ask questions, I'm going to try the best of my ability to answer. But this is from my perspective. What is Plume? Plume is real world assets. Now, you can go back to my videos if you want to see what a real world asset is. It's basically taking something that might have no value and you create a way that it creates value. A way I like to tell people about this is using a house. If you have a house or a car or something that may have value, if you purchase that thing of value, like a house, and let's say you put $10,000 onto your house, and let's say your house was $100,000. Again, I don't know where you got a house for $100,000, but just go with my simple numbers for me. If you have $10,000 you put onto that house and $90,000 debt, you owe the mortgage company, well, you have equity into the house of about $10,000, but you can't get that equity out unless you go get a loan, right? You can't get that money back. Well, a real world asset would take something like that $10,000 that you put into your house, and it would say to you, you know what? You own about 1/10 of the value of this home, and you can't get equity out of it. So this is what we'll do. We're going to take something that feels like crypto. It's not quite crypto, and we're going to tokenize the value. We're going to take 10% that you own, and the $10,000 you put into it, that's 10%. We're going to break it down into miniature little tiny tokens, and we're going to give it to a company like BlackRock, Grayscale, and we're going to offer this to our customers, not the retail customers, but the institutional customers. I'm talking about the JP Morgan banks, the Wells Fargo banks of the world. And now, why would they do this? Well, this is how it benefits you. You get a way to get access to equity, to money, to liquidity, into the value of your house that you could not have gotten out before without getting a loan against the value of the house, an equity loan. And the customer of the institutional banks and institutional companies, they get something too. They see that maybe in the housing market that your house in the location it's at will probably go up more than 6%. Let's say it goes up 10% in the next 5 years. Well, they look at that as a asset class, a way that they can take their money and get back a yield. They want to get money back on that. Look how it benefits you. The institutions have a way to give a product and get access to private home equity, and the customer gets yield, their dollar gets them back more money, and you get money from that. That is the value of real world assets, taking something that was illiquid and making it liquid. Now, is that clear? That's what we're talking about. So let's get into this conversation. Let's talk about what you have asked me. So before I do that, let me remind you, the last time I did a Plume report, and this is a Plume report, this is going to be provided to my members. So press that join button. Later, I'll show you a QR code. If you want to become a part of my memberships, you'll scan that QR code. It's in all my videos, or press join, become a member, because this is exclusive content. The last time before I got to you, before we get to the questions, I talked to you about a discovery I made of B2 Network. I just want to remind you, here are the 4 projects that I think you should pay attention to before you go into 2026. Don't say I didn't tell you. You need to pay attention to the B2 Network. You can find this on Kraken and other locations. Polygon, you can find this on Coinbase. You're going to need to pay attention to Alt Layer and Igen Layer. And of course, Plume Network, which is the conversation for today. Now, I'm going to be coming up this week on the Plume Report. As you go into the new year with Underdog, we're going to be talking about the 255 projects building on Plume, the 29 industries those projects are in, and which one of these projects are we looking at, how it can bring value to the network of Plume. Now, today we're going to get right into the questions. So, are you ready? Let's get into it. These are your questions. We're going to start with this first aspect here. This aspect was a statement or question from Randy Espirito. He said the following. He said, Plume, as new as it is, we are ranked number 22 on the blockchain. Now, I looked into that. Now, he was talking about L2s. I just want to make sure we're talking about the same thing. Now, if he was talking about coin market cap at the time in which you're watching this video, as you can see at the top, I put a question mark, not a question mark, but a check mark by it. We're ranked number 382 out of 8,912 active cryptocurrencies on CoinMarketCap, and that is Plume Network. Now, again, it seems like Randy, what he was talking about was of the L2s. You got L1s, L2s, all these different things, the technology that we building off of is saying that we are ranked number 22. Now, I didn't have an opportunity to look at where we place in the rankings of that category, L2 projects, but for CoinMarketCap, we are 382 out of 8,900 projects that are on CoinMarketCap. Now, Plume has only been active since the beginning of the year. So for me, I like that. Even with the price point, that is huge. Now, let's keep going and let's talk about the next one. Now, we're going to go into this one right here. Now, I'm going to start us off with this conversation because this is going to be a few slides that I've created for you to answer a very important question. What is that question? We got CJ Treble. He left a comment on one of my videos recently. He says, Underdog, is it true that one wallet holder holds over 80% of the supply? Woo! 80%. Can you imagine that, folks? As I think about that, and that makes my beard want to just go away. I just want to have a mustache at that point. Could you imagine 80%? Now, since he made that statement, I want to do this for you. I want to look into that claim. Is that claim true or is it not? Now, at face value, I'm not going to say whether or not it's true or not because we've seen projects come out that have had 80% of the holders, even the USD1 and other World Liberty Finance projects that came out, meme coins, 80% of the value went to one person. So when I see that, that would scare me. And if it's a large holding, I would want to know what is that about? Where is it coming from? So CJ, let's talk about it. This is going to be the longest portion that I address. And then after that, we'll go into the other questions. But I think it's important. So let's talk about it. CJ, are there a wallet out there somewhere in Plume Network that holds 80% of the tokens in Plume? Well, let's put the research over the hype. So according to what I found here, this is what I found. If you look at Plume Network, this is what you'll see. Plume contract address and the wallet holding 55% of supply. Now, wait a minute, folks. That's still a high amount. Now, so we first addressed CJ's question. There is not a wallet that I found that showed 80% of the holdings, but CJ, he brought up a question. There is a wallet that holds 55%, over half. That is important to find out about that project, about that holder, I should say. Is this a holder? Is this an exchange? We don't know yet, but I did the research and I'm going to share it with you. So I'm going to address this wallet. Now, let me show you for those who might be following along. Check this out. You're going to look at this in order to understand what this all means. Somebody might be coming here for the first time and you don't even know what I'm talking about. So let me make sure we understand. Every cryptocurrency has an address, just like a bank account. It has a routing number, if you will. And that tells us a lot. If you're in cryptocurrency, that tells us what that contract that created that cryptocurrency came from. It tells us every holder has a wallet address. It tells us where things come in, what things come out. Think of it as a ledger, like a bank. We can track a wallet to let us know if the project itself is legitimate. Is this the same one, or is this someone else's project, or who may be holding on to that token? So that's why we look at wallet addresses. What CJ's saying is there's one holder that he heard that had 80%. Now, 80% is super high. What you worry about is a scam, such as someone dumping the tokens on you in order to take all the money out of it that people put into it. They call that a rug pull. So it's a fair question. So I want to address that. So we're going to talk about what I found. So this is what I found, folks. Plume contract address. If you look at this, Plume shows a contract address. I put it in green, ending in A5F1. The wallet holding 55% has a different contract address ending in DEF83. So let's talk about that. So we can already tell you one thing right now is that one, the contract address for Plume was verified, and there was on Plume's network a wallet that appears to have 55% of the holdings that has a different address. But what is that wallet? So that's what we're going to look. So I took a look for you. I want y'all to look at this. I told you put this on your big screen, otherwise you're going to be screaming. You're trying to see it. You can't see it. This is me tracking through from Ethereum scan of that wallet. So this is what we have. I'm going to walk you through it. So as I look through Plume wallet address, I'm checking out. It has 21,454 holders. You see me right there. I want you to see it yourself. Here's that wallet with 55% of the tokens that you can see. Now I'm showing you right now. I clicked on token holders and I want to see this visualized. And there it goes right there. There's that piece of pie that CJ was talking about. And that showed me that this wallet address that I told you about actually has 55%. So now we've verified this to be true, what CJ originally said. So now that we verified that off of Ethereum scan, we can actually say there is a wallet with 55%. Now, folks, that's awfully high. We got to now discover what that is. Now, again, let's talk about this wallet with 55%. From my perspective, this is what I found. If you compare Plume contract address on the left here and Plume on the right, the holder with 55%, this is what you'll find. I notice I put both contract addresses there for you to see. Let's do a comparison analysis. Plume is an ERC20 token. That's an Ethereum-based token. It's implemented on something called ERC 1967, which is an upgradable proxy. And we'll talk about that a little bit later because you really want to understand what that means. Now, it's created by Plume Network, which is the project's name. This particular proxy contract address has no Plume balance at itself. So that's to be expected. Now, this address does not explain the 55% holding. It only defines the token's rules. So we now know that this ERC20 is based off of ERC 1967 upgradable proxy. We understand that. But let's talk about this right-hand side. Now, as we see the right-hand side, what do we find? We find that the address that you care about, this big wallet with 55% holding, this is not the token contract for Plume. It's not labeled in the way we can scan it, so we don't see it labeled on CoinMarketCap in exchange. It's not a deployer wallet, but it holds 55%, which is 5.54 billion Plume. Now, that's a lot, but we got to figure it out. So I want you to take a moment right now, and as we go into this, I want you to understand. So this is going to be the longest portion of this. I am here to talk to you about this 55% because somebody might get into Plume. And if you don't know what you're holding, if you don't know the value, you don't know the players, if you don't understand the game, this is not going to be helpful for you. But if you understand that you can see what this is, then this will be very helpful. Let me show you what I found. If you want to scan this QR code, this is how you become a community member. So I want you to be a part of this. But I want you to see what I see on the Ethereum scan. So if you look to the right and look to the left, you got my QR code to scan to be a member. On the left-hand side, you see that there is 5,544,624,800 Plume in this one wallet, which is 55%. Now, I put this out here so you can see it. This data is not just data. This data tells you everything. This data tells me what is happening. What's the activity? Now, as an investigator, I look at data like you look at water. You need to understand how the water doesn't just affect the human body, but how it flows through the veins and the capillaries, how it functions throughout the body. Without water, the body can't function. The data within this Plume network tells me everything. I looked into the behavior of this wallet. What is it doing? What's going in it and what's going out of it? I want to share with you. You can see this too, what I saw. This is what I saw. Now, as we look at the data, you can see that right here, that big circle, you can confirm this is the data point that shows me that this wallet has 55%. Now, those little tiny wallets below show me how they're interacting. I'm taking it on and off. This you can see an Ethereum scan, and I'm showing you that the biggest wallet holders there, and that circle around it is who it interacts with. Now, as I look through this contract, I'm looking for the confirmation. How much money's in it? Well, I'm seeing that this wallet has about $103 million. Am I right there? Yeah, I'm right there. $103 million is in this particular wallet. So I want to check a little bit deeper. And I don't know why I have this. I made a mistake and there's an extra comma. So this, instead of that decimal, that should be a comma. So this wallet has 5 billion tokens. And that is not 100,000. That should be another comma there. And so that is over $100 million. Whose money is it? And why is it there in this one wallet? I went and I confirmed, and I'm a little mad because y'all see clearly here that Underdog went too fast and I didn't put the other comma. I checked out the address. This is not 100,000. That is a typo. This is $103 million in this wallet for Plume. So if you watch this back, you know, that's the problem with going live. You can't correct it in the meantime. You know that this wallet has $100 million. Now, let me ask you a question before we even go on. Who is throwing away $100 million on a token? That means the person who owns this wallet has to have control over $100 million. That doesn't sound like a individual singular person. What it sounds like to me before I even start the evaluation, which I'm about to show you right now, is institutional money. People who put money into this in order for this project to come to fruition. But you don't know that. Don't take my word for it. Let's look at it and let's figure it out together. All right, so this is what I got for you. Let's understand these concepts. Before I get into it, we got to talk about 3 words. Classification of what emissions are, what is internal reallocations. Now, in short, non-technical, emissions mean consistently when a project releasing a fixed token supply to users like rewards or ecosystems. Plume is an ecosystem. Internal reallocations means that a project is moving tokens within its own wallets, like fundraising to a vesting account. And lastly, proxy. I keep saying the word proxy. Earlier, I told you that that wallet that is Plume Network is a proxy, that contract address. Now, this refers to an upgradable token architecture used to manage the contract flexibly and securely over time. There's no red flags there. So I want to establish that we see before we get started, $100 million is invested in this Plume Network sitting in one wallet. So for those who thought that this is one person, it's highly unlikely, but I'm going to show you through the activity what I found. And then we're going to get into the rest of the questions. I told you this is going to be the longest portion. The rest of them going to go by quick. So let's find out, because somebody's wondering about this. So I want to make sure that you see it. So this is what we see. That wallet address for Plume tells us indirectly, even though the proxy contract is not the holder, it tells us how the project is structured. Plume has an upgradable wallet, which is initialized via their contract and deployed named Plume. Now, this strongly tells me that the foundation is a treasury controlled wallet, managed token supply and structured for emissions or allocations. This ERC 1967, which I showed you there, it indicates to me this is a treasury wallet, has distribution wallets, and vesting custodial wallets. Now, this already start making sense because I showed you right here. Please ignore it. It says 100,000. That's 100 million, folks. I know you don't see the other zeros, but I was in a rush. So this was from a separate independent research into it. What we see here, which establishes that, is that when I looked at this token wallet address where it shows you ADEF 83, I clearly could tell that this one actually has $100 million in it, this one wallet. Now, that means that likely the individual is not going to be buying that. There's not the activity that shows that they're buying that. That is an allocation. And again, that's consistent with it being a proxy wallet. It's consistent with that being a treasury distribution investing. Plume.org has a network where they do exactly that through the Nest protocol, connected to BlackRock, connected to Hamilton Lane. They have Plume points. They have a treasury. See, real crypto projects, this is not truly crypto. This is real world assets. These are real things. It feels like crypto, but this is more aligned with the traditional market. This company, Plume, is operating where it looks like it's crypto, but that's just the outward layer, the user interface. Behind all that is traditional treasuries, banks, and accounts, just like you would see if I was at a Fortune 500 company. This is consistent. So why that threw people off, what CJ first said it, when he asked about this 8% wallet, what he was seeing, if you're not aware of it, is a treasury-like wallet. But I want to keep showing you. Now, I went and I researched this more. You see right here, to the right, that image is me going through a visualization that I have for you that shows me what wallets are connected to it. This is what it let me know. This 55% wallet let me know the following things. It says the following. It says, not a personal wallet. It's not an individually custody of 55% supply. There's no sell side liquidity behavior. There's no retail transaction patterns. So I'm not seeing this acting like a personal wallet. It's not an exchange either. I see that there's split custody across many wallets. I see there's deposits from many sources. I looked how it showed any chaotic inbound, outbound flow. I don't see that. What I see when I review this wallet, this 55% wallet, the analytics show me that this is a hub and spoke fan out, not deposits. So this shows me this wallet, it is the hub. It's like going to a central bank, and that bank is called Bank of America. And Bank of America has a main bank, and let's say it's Washington, D.C. And Bank of America is spread across multiple counties, multiple cities. And the main bank in Washington, D.C. needs to send money to their other smaller banks in order to do things such as do rewards to their customers and other functions as the bank deems necessary. And they have the main holding, like Plume Network, and it distributes out. That is what the data is showing me. So far, CJ, for those who were asking the same question that CJ did, is this bad? Is this a red flag? No, this shows me a makeup of a company with $100 million. For me, that looks really good. I've seen projects that have less than $10 in their treasury, and most projects don't even have a treasury at all. So that tells me a lot of things, but it also tells me more. But we're going to talk a little bit more. We got 5 more slides about this, and then I get to go to your other questions. CJ, you asked a deep question. You thought I was going to give you some little tiny answer. I'm going to give you the right information because somebody else wants to know too. So this is what else I found. Looking at this 55% holding wallet, projects controlled this custody wallet. Project controlled custody wallet. This wallet is most likely, from what I can see, a Treasury Foundation wallet, a wallet for token distribution, for vesting custodian, non-contract operational custody, a bridge. One dominant node that I saw in there, the way it looks, this dominant node, this big old circle of 55% wallet, it's structured for outbound distributions. There's no trading churn. There's no deposit clustering. That pattern cannot be an exchange. So if I was seeing an exchange, if this wallet was an exchange, what we should see is inbound, outbound, sales. That's not happening. It's outbound, fan outs. Fan outs mean in the crypto space, you have, if you remember back in the day, and they still have it now, there's these Bitcoin disguisers, if you will. They'll take your Bitcoin, they'll mix it. They call them mixers, mix up your Bitcoin, and then they'll take everybody who sends to this one wallet account, and then it distributes it out like a fan to multiple accounts. This helps you to keep from showing where the money came from. Now, this could be for privacy. This could be for a lot of reasons. Like that analogy, this wallet is not getting back and forth transactions like you would see on an exchange. This wallet is spanning out, but it's not going back in. So this is consistent with a custodial treasury type wallet. It is not consistent with a personal behavior such as buying and selling of a personal wallet. It also not consistent with the amount, $100 million. It's not consistent even with a personal person buying $100 million. This is consistent with what we've been seeing, a fan out. So that's what we're seeing here. Last 4. Why Etherscan doesn't label it. So the reason you looked at Etherscan alone, and that's where you stop, Etherscan, that you have to manually have to update it to say what type of wallet it is. Typically that information is either crowdsourced or the exchange itself submitted it. Because Plume is an early stage, mid stage project, often this area is not labeled as a treasury wallet until major exchange listings happen over time. Formal audits happen, public foundation disclosures. So unlabeled to me is not suspicious. This is normal. So if you just tuned in, again, we're talking about Plume Network. This is my longest response to a question. I promise you folks, but I know that a lot of people are asking about this because it's your money. You want to make sure that you understand what you're investing in. And I would be a little cautious too if I saw a wallet with 55% and I don't know what that is. So I'm telling you what I see in the data. And so far, that's why you're seeing that. So Etherscan, if you look at Etherscan, the reason why that label doesn't say treasury wallet, because someone has to manually do it, or the Etherscan themselves, the exchanges have to update it. And it's a new project. It's only been out for a little bit of time, about 365 days. So that hadn't happened yet. So that's why you're not seeing that. Last three things, and then we're going to move on, folks. Why, if you filter that wallet, this wallet right here, the 55%, why does it show that and only show this holding? What you're seeing here, folks, is the Plume contract, and I'm filtering it down to this address. It's not implying ownership of all its Plume tokens. It's implying that wallet is holding a cache of Plume tokens, and that cash is being held like a treasury, like how regular companies would operate. So that's why you're seeing that. The last two pieces, let's go through this, and I'm going to get through this so we can get to the regular questions. They're much shorter and easier to answer. If you look at this, the top 100 holders own 95%, and that is not abnormal for Plume. So real world asset protocols, foundation managed ecosystems, tokenized infrastructure projects, what matters most is who controls it, how it moves, and whether emissions are predictable. The data shows controlled distribution, not dumping. One of the things I see a lot that you're going to see after this next slide, and we're going to take a quick break, see who's here, and then we'll get back to the questions that you asked. One of the things you see a lot, folks, is people discussing dumping. They just, hey, this project dumped all these tokens. I believe this is going to be a rug pull. But that's not what I'm seeing here. What I'm seeing here with this project is emissions. When we say these words, and sometimes we don't really get what that means, Plume network has to structure itself in a manner in which it has a benefit, an upside for institutional investors and holders. And part of the structure they have is sending out points, sending out ways that people can get benefits, staking through the Plume, PUSD, a lot of different ways. So what we're seeing here, if you look at Plume Network, the top 100 of them, you can find out they own 95%, but that is not unusual when you have a project of this type. And even real world assets, that's a very small number. So that's why you're seeing that. Last one. CJ, I hope that you like this comment because CJ started us off. I was going to just answer the rest of them very quickly, but CJ asked, so I want to make sure I answered. This is my determination. So after reviewing the contract address for Plume Network and after seeing the 55% holdings, what I was able to verify in the data, and that's the real world view pie chart of the data of the holders. You can see it yourself on Etherscan. I put a check mark by it. A project-controlled custody wallet is what that wallet is. That's Plume's wallet, like a treasury. It's custody of a large amount of tokens, over 5 billion. Likely a treasury, a distribution hub. It is not an exchange wallet. It's not a single person. It's consistent with an ERC 1967 proxy-based token architecture. There is no red flag here based on the evidence that I saw. All right. Woo! I hope that y'all enjoyed that conversation. And I'm going to go back to the very beginning where this came up. CJ Treble, you asked this question. Is it true that one wallet holds over 80% of the supply? Underdog gave you your answer. That is incorrect. But I did identify that there was one wallet that held 55%. And after that, it dropped down to like 1.4%, the next highest holding wallet. And that is a treasury distribution hub, not owned by a single person, owned by those who got into it. Now, we can go into another time about the holders, who are the holders, the companies, the backers, because that's going to come in play with the token distribution and the token releases that are coming up in January and past that time. But that's not time for today. That is the answer. So I hope y'all enjoyed that because that was a lot of information, a lot of research, and I just want to make sure I share that with you. Now, let's see who's here, and then we'll get to the rest of the questions because that was a lot, and I want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to speak, and I acknowledge you for being here. Thanks for being here. Let's see who we got here with us today. Let me take this off the screen. We have one of the Underdog members ready for the video. I see you here. Always good to see you. Thank you for being here today. We got Christopher Pierce. What's going on? Thank you for being here, Christopher. Cecil. Wait, Cecil. How you doing, Chris? Good to see you, brother. All right. One of my favorite people in the world right there. We got What Up, Doe? One of the other members saying what's doing. That's salutations, brothers from Detroit XRP. Good to see you. We had L3 Detroit XRP. They're here in the house. Did you shave recently? I think I might have had a little cut. May have did a little something. Appreciate you noticing. Derek Hine. I'm still confused on how this went from 3 billion to 40 million market cap. 3 billion to 40 million market cap. Yeah, the price went down. But we'll talk about that. That's going to come up in another conversation. I talked about it in my other ones too, but for today we have some ones that people already asked. UD, thank you. God bless you for the alpha. You're welcome. Hey, it's good to see you, man. I hadn't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Always looking fresh and so clean in your profile picture. And we got Pierre Ordain 86 Digital FTB2. I don't know what that means, so I'm going to have to look it up afterwards. Thank you for being here. All right, folks. We had a quick break. Thank you for being here. Let's get back to your questions. Now, I hope that you like this type of content because, what I'm doing here, I'll do this about once a month. Typically in these videos, there's going to be two types of videos you're going to get. You're either going to get a recorded video that you can't interact. You're going to get a live video where you can interact. And that's typically it. But you don't often get people who will go back and answer questions that you have, especially in a non-biased way. So I hope that you're leveraging this. A lot of times people come watch my videos after it's off live because you all don't get the notifications. It is what it is. But I want you to know that this can help you. Sometimes you can get intelligence from the questions, things you don't know. And that's helped me. I didn't know about that wallet until I looked into it after someone brought it up. Now I know. And now I've verified. And that's how you grow your knowledge. So remember, it's your money. Don't you want to know what you're investing in before you put your money into it? Now, let's get to the rest of your questions. So we are here. Now, next question is from an Underdog member. Yes. My Underdog members are those who took the opportunity to join the Underdog Research channel. And I'm going to show you this question that they had. And let's see what they said. They said the following. They said 9 days ago, hey, since I'm so indoctrinated with buying coins that it took me a bit to really get to the true point because I was still listening for the coin play mainly. Thanks for the renewed mind and keep up the great work. Well, first of all, I want to acknowledge Les Square. That's who is there, who asked that question 9 days ago. And what they asked that question about is one of the topics I talked about with Plume. And I'll bring this up in a second. But they was talking about Plume, and they was talking about, hey, we're in a place now where you kind of get indoctrinated. That's a good word. You get indoctrinated by certain things. The way we interact, it's either a scam or it's going to go to the moon. And what I've been telling people for the last 5 years, but really going in on it this year, is that we got to start paying attention to the technology, the industry, and stop gambling. We're gambling and we want results like microwaves. When we don't gamble, when we look at it from a logical, analytical standpoint, if we truly understand the industry, this is not that hard. But if you purchase something, you put your money into it, yet you're not invested in where your money goes, you don't want to learn about it, you don't care about it, you don't understand it, and then it goes south, then you blame everybody else but yourself. You're not taking accountability for your lack of engagement. So what they're saying is, when I look and research, I try to be unbiased. I look at it based on the information I found in the research, and I let that lead me. Now, sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win, but I don't allow my emotions. I don't allow people's comments that are based on their opinion without any structure, without any foundation to skew me. So a lot of times I don't even see what people are talking about. You'll see questions people ask me here today, and I only know about the project because I haven't seen it on my research. If I don't find it on my research, I don't talk about it. Even if it's a big name project, I kind of like silo myself. So They were talking about how they've been so indoctrinated to looking for the next coin play. What's the next one, Underdog? Which one's going to go to the moon? I don't know. I don't ever tell people what's going to go to the moon. All I do is share with you what I see in the markets based on the researchable information and let you make your best decision possible. And hopefully I can bring you value. Now, folks, here's that QR code. Scan this QR code. I give a Plume report starting next week, every week, and it's going to be about different aspects of the project no one's talking about. But I told you about it before it got listed on Coinbase, Binance, and these other major exchanges. Before it went all the way to the top, I've told you about it. And those who got in, they've been winning. Your entry could be good right now, but you got to be willing to take accountability and take a chance. But you can't do that without the research. So I give you 2 sites. Here's my sites. Scan the QR code and become a member. Now, let's get to the next question. Here it goes. This is from Adanan Ali. I don't think I said that right, but he says, would love to see Plume partner with Canton, who already got 6 trillion of RWA on chain already. And so he is talking about a project called Canton. And interestingly enough, my good friend, Black Rue Investing, just did a video that's called How Zebek Can Help Canton. Now, I don't know about Canton. He's not the only person who talked about it. Other people have talked about Canton. I have not done the research on Canton because I'm so focused on Plume. However, now that you brought it up, I will look at some point to see if there's a connection between Canton and Plume and what that connection is particularly. So thank you very much. You're going to see other questions as well about Canton. We have Hakeem Jarwala. I'm messing everybody's names up, but it's okay. I'm doing the best I can. He says, or she, I'm thinking Hakeem is a male's name, 7 days ago. Bro, thanks for your precious research. No one's talking about Plume, and all the channels are not even mentioning about it. They are loading their bags, and once it shoots up in price, they will start their pump and dump videos. Much respect to you, brother. Man, I appreciate that, Hakeem. I really appreciate that. Let me tell you, I don't care how many times people say that they want to buy low and sell high. It's not true. In my 700,000 views, in my 5 years of doing this, currently we have about 22,500 people as subscribers, still a very small amount, modest channel. I can't even keep up with the amount of people who say they want to buy something low and sell it high, but they continue to buy green candles. It's counterproductive. If you are buying something, why would you buy it when it's green? Shouldn't you buy it when it's red? But let me tell you my explanation of why this happens. People are psychologically stuck. No matter what you tell them, they don't have the conviction. They don't take the time. They don't want to know. They don't put in the effort to even understanding it. They're not interested. And so they'll buy it when the media, when social media, when the influencers tell them to buy. They don't want to be leaders. They want to be followers. And because they do that, their entry is always higher. Take this project, for example. Right now, it's underneath 2 cents. When it first came out, January 2025, if you was a pre-investor, we're talking about the initial coin offering, your entry would have been 10 cents. Sometime a couple months into it, it went up to 24 cents, all-time high. How much is that profit-wise? Well, you know that if you double 10 cents, 20 cents, that's 100% profit. So if it's 24 cents, that is about 150% profit. Why didn't they sell it there? Because they wanted more. Some sold there. So some were able to get 10 cents per token. They doubled and a half their money. Doubled and a half. They've got 1.5 increase in the money they put in. If they had $1, they got $2.50. If they had, $10, they got $5 and what, maybe $8. They doubled their money, 150% gains. So the individuals who got in at 10 cents, they waited a very short period of time. It went up to 24 cents. Some sold, some didn't. Since that time, the market dropped billions of dollars from Bitcoin, driving Bitcoin price from 126,000 or 124,000 down below 84,000. At some points, even a flash crash lower than that, which drives the whole market down. And then you're in a niche market such as RWAs. When that money gets moved from a market, the price is going to go down. So Plume itself, if Bitcoin went from 126,000, the largest number one token, and now Plume is going to feel that effect, it dropped down to below 2 cents. The people entering today have a better opportunity, likely, to go up back to the 10 cents and 5x their money. And if they are so lucky that they go all the way up to 24 cents, they didn't 10x their money or more than the people who only had the first opportunity who went to 24 cents. Now, that's a lot of information, but what I'm trying to say is you don't even get to that point yet if you don't even know what you're holding. It's not a crypto. Plume network is working like a cryptocurrency, but the company, their co-founders would tell you too, it feels like crypto, but this is real world assets. What does that mean? It is taking illiquid assets, creating an asset class like stocks, like bonds, like treasuries, like credits, and creating a way to have an asset class to offer institutional investors. Of that, maybe 10% of it is for us retail investors. Now, this is why I want you to think about, because I really appreciate Hakeem bringing this up. Are we going to continue to wait until someone tells you something's good and it's popular because they already got their entry at the lower entry and they need you to come in order for them to make liquidity of you, which is how a market works, folks? Someone always sells, someone always buys. That's normal. Or are we going to learn about the thing that you have in your pocket? Understand real world assets is the number one topic in 2025, and it will be going forward. Understand that regulations like the Genius Act, like the Clarity Act, do you know that stablecoin is a real world asset? That as the financial system itself changes into this new ecosystem, you can either be on it like JP Morgan, like Coinbase, and major companies like BlackRock, Grayscale. If the billionaire, Grayscale has $13.3 trillion. If the trillionaire investors and their clients have decided to partner with a project like Plume, which they have, if billionaire companies like Grayscale has considered Plume as an asset, I'm talking about just like Ethereum, maybe we don't need some influencer who's just trying to get likes and loves to tell us when to buy it. Maybe we should do this on our own and understand what we get. So thank you, Hakeem. I saw the same thing. I appreciate your comment and I appreciate you being a member of this platform, a subscriber, and thank you very much for watching. And let's get to the next one. Deadwood said the following. Deadwood, 11 days ago, October 10th, the Plume USDC on Binance flashed to 0.0080. Do y'all think that's where we are heading? I have been waiting since 0.08, which looks like 8 cents, to play out. So, from what I'm reading from this, thank you, Deadwood, for your question, is on October the 10th, a few months ago, Plume USDC, the stablecoin pair on Binance, flashed to sub-penny, 0.0080. So from what I'm seeing, that looks like 0.8 of a penny. So for what they're saying is, if you take a penny and you break that penny into 100 pieces, then it took about 80% of those pieces into a penny. So 1 penny chopped into 100 pieces, 1 Plume token would have cost you 80% of that penny. Make sense? So it's saying that the price of Plume on October 10th dropped down to 1/8 of a penny for a second on Binance. Now, I don't have access to Binance. I didn't look at Binance, and I wasn't watching Binance on that date. I could go and look and see what happened on that date. But ultimately, what is the question that Deadwood is asking? Deadwood, it seems like what you're asking is, do you think that that's where we're heading? And I have been waiting since 2008 to play out. So 8 cents. Yes. This is why I think that Plume will go beneath a penny. But I do not think it's going to be a bad thing. When I look at the token unlocks, which I'm going to be doing a Plume report, so please, folks, press join right now. Become a member so you can keep up with these things because no one else is going to give you these reports. It shows a big token unlock is happening January the 26th of 2026, the largest in the billions. We just saw one holder has 5 billion tokens by themselves. So there's going to be a couple of things that happen. I'm not going to go all of it today, but a few things could happen. Who are the holders? These are the people who either invested monetarily, companies, into Plume, the company, who want their money. You don't give people money and they don't take it back. That's a fantasy. If a company invests in you, they're going to get their money out typically within 7 to 10 years, unless they're early investing, and they might have backers who might have a shorter time period. Plume has to pay to play. So I foresee January 26th, a couple of things happening. I foresee that there will be a flash drop in Plume after the 26th and on the 26th. But before the 26th, I believe that Plume is going to go up in price through marketing, through bots, through activity market makers, because right now, the individuals who invested in Plume Network before Plume Network releases tokens need to recoup their money. And that's okay. That's normal. If you get a loan from somebody, you're going to want to recoup. And some of those investors are going to want to recoup right now. Some will reinvest into Plume. Some will hold on to it for value. So we don't know how many are going to take out, but we know that someone's going to take back their money. Therefore, I see Plume dropping below 1 cent and then shooting up. But going to there, it just makes more sense that people are going to market push the company, market makers, to say, hey, look what's happening in the RWAs. That's marketing. And the price should be affected in mid-January for that, so that the people taking liquidity out can have more money to take out. But it is going to affect the price. Then after the token drops, I see it's going to be a lull. I don't think it's going to stay below a penny for too long. I believe, based on the data we're seeing, it's going to stay a low for a couple of weeks. And then about February or March, I think it's going to take the heck off. And then everybody who got in at that price point have a better opportunity to go up even higher. For me, I'm averaging in because whether I get the bottom or I get under 2 cents, right now I'm getting Plume under the 10 cents that the people who bought it in 2025 got it. So I'm good with that. I want to get a certain amount. So the lower it is, the more opportunity I can get that amount I want personally for to hold on to. So don't know about the Binance piece, but that's my thoughts on that. All right, that is Deadwood. Let me go back and see who is here. Thank y'all, folks, for being here today. Checking back with you. Let's see who's come in since I started. We got several more questions, and I can't believe it's already been this long. I didn't realize how quickly I haven't got through most of the questions. So we're going to keep going because that's what you wanted. This is going to be once a month, the live questions. So I'll keep going, but we're headed to an hour already. So let's see who else is here. We got Lamato, we got that. Here we go. Aiden Jones, the video is fantastic. What's going on, Aiden? Enjoy my life. How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for watching. Checking in with me. All right. We got Detroit XRP, exactly 100%. We got Derek Haim. How much of the supply are they going to release? let's go to it real quick. So that's a good question. I didn't bring that slide up, didn't create that for you, but we can go check that really quickly. Let's do that right now, and then we'll get to the rest of the questions. So let's see here. So we're going to go check out, excuse me, coin market cap, and let's look at Plume, and let's talk about the supply. And let's share it with you right now. Let's find out right now how much supply will they be releasing as we speak. Here we go. All right, let's make sure you guys can see that. Yep, you can see that. Now let's go down and let's go to token unlock. Make sure you can see that. You can see that. All right, folks. So this is what we got. We got token unlocks coming up. Let's find out when and how much. So let me move over to the side. We'll have to make this a little bit smaller. I don't want to see more of this. I guess I got to make it bigger, unfortunately. And smaller. Okay, so let's see if we can figure this out. Give me a second as I go through it. All right, allocation. I'm having a hard time for you to pull up, so let me see if I can find it. There we go. So make sure that you can see it on your screen. So let me make this bigger, and then I'll answer your question right now. And it's bigger on your screen. So according to Coin Market Cap, on January the 20th of 2026, there's going to be 1.46 billion, folks, total unlocked, which will be an increase of 14.68%. Now, before you get dismayed, this tells me who is unlocking, what is the unlock, where is it going? So you can see right there, this 6.6. Ooh, I don't like that number though. 6.66.66 million. That's a horrible number. But the core contributors to Plume are taken back. They should have just put one more one in there. Goodness gracious, that's an ugly number. 6.66.66 million to the core contributors. That's horrible. It's going to the core contributors. Early backers are getting 700 million of that. Now, see, I was right. There you go. Treasury, 31.94 million Plume, and community and ecosystem, back into the ecosystem and the community. That's for you. So you're getting staking awards. You're going to get 69.2 million Plume. It's going toward that. What is that value? Starting with the community. So if you say this is a bad thing, you are going to get paid. If you're invested and you're staked and you're part of the ecosystem, they're paying out 1.27 million to us retail investors and people who are invested. The Treasury is going to get an increase of 588,000 $588,000 in the Treasury. Then the early backers who gave money to Plume are going to get 12.89 million. The core contributors are going to get 12.28 million. All right. So keeping that there, I think that is normal. So I think that's the problem. We are so used to, and really, honestly, we've really come complacent that only thing we understand is crypto. Crypto's volatility is why you're here. You want to buy it volatile because you want to make the most amount of money that you can. So you're trying to get it low. So it is working, as I said earlier, as a treasury. That wallet, now we know where that money is going to in the form of Plume tokens. 1.27 million of it is going to you. So anybody who's mad, then invest in the Nest product. That's a product on plume.org. You can get yield, distribution. They're paying out money and $1.27 million. Let me look at this again because I want you to see it because I think check this out, folks. So if you look at the allocation, if you see that right there, you can see clearly that the core contributors, the people who made it possible for Plume to be a project today, a company today, are getting back 12 million. The early backers are getting back 12.8 million. But if you look at the bottom, 10%. The community ecosystem is getting 1.27 million. 10% of the money that the company make is going back to you. So again, that tells a lot. On the Plume report, I'm going to keep telling you guys, I really want you to consider this. I'm going to put it up here again. So you know, I do a Plume report. It's going to be every week for my members. I have 2 sites. If you want to get to those sites, you can get those sites, because I think that's a fair question. But if we don't know how to access, analyze, and review the data, all you see is, oh my God, a wallet with 55% of tokens. Oh my God, where's it coming from? They're about to dump on us. And then you see the price go down and you don't have an understanding of why, and you think that something's wrong. This is normal. They are working product. We want projects that are giving back 1.27 million to the community. You want projects that banks and companies are investing in. You want a project that's sitting in the bank over $100 million. Folks, scan my QR code. You want the Plume report? This is not free all the time. You got to invest in it. It's $19.99 a month. It's 66 cents per day. That is as cheap as it can be for anybody to find out not just this, but all these things that you need to know. It's worth, if you got more than $20 in it, you need to know this. So that is the answer to that question. And so I hope that y'all appreciate that information. So let me go down and pull this up. I done lost my place, folks. See what they done made me do? They done made me lose my place. There we go. And that should be it. Okay, cool. So let me keep going. Let me go back to you guys. Let me make sure I don't lose my place here and what we were looking at. So we were talking about, okay, we had went to, so we're still looking at your product. So let's see who else we have here. Now, next, Water Buffalo, Plume or RWAs. Don't know about RWAs at all. So I can't help you with that. It's like Canton. I haven't seen it along my research. If I see it, I'll bring it up. But thank you for asking. So this will come into and play in a future one. Aussie, like, what's going on, Aussie? I see you big on Plume. So thank you for being here today. And we got Jay here. Thanks for your time, brother. Hey, I appreciate you being here too. All right, folks, are y'all ready to keep going? These are your questions. Now, I know this is not my traditional 15-minute videos. My live streams typically be longer. They're longer because, you know, you're asking questions. I have to interact with you. I can't control the data, but it is what it is. So I hope y'all enjoying this. It's taking my time to share it with you, so I want to share this with you. If you want to become a member, scan that QR code. I'm going to keep saying it because I want people to be ready for 2026 and beyond. And I have the data. I'm doing the work for you. All you got to do is watch it and take your time to do so. So with that being said, let's get to your other questions, folks. So let me make sure that I get caught up. Let's see here. All right, there we go. Next question. We got Deadwood. Jermaine Wright. Now, Jermaine Wright has been rocking with me for about 4 years now. He has been a long-time member of the Underdog Research community. So, Jermaine, thank you for being here. Let's see what your question was. Jermaine Wright stated 12 days ago, Plume is making moves. I'm also in Centrifuge and Canton Network. So here we go again, folks. Canton Network has come up twice. That tells me we might want to look into Canton Network. Now, Jermaine has given me some great projects over the years that he's told me about. So when he talks, I tend to listen. He's a subscriber, but he also has been in my private Telegram when I had my own Telegram with people who came to the, I don't have no more though. He was one of the first people there. When I was in a project called Silo, I had a messenger called Silo. He was in there. So he's been there for about 4 years. So I appreciate you being a member, but I just want to say when he pays attention to it, I do too. So Centrifuge and Canton Network, don't know anything about them yet, but that's the second time. I do want to shout out my boy, my friend, Black Rule Investing. He did a video recently about 2 projects, how Zabec can help Canton. So go to Black Rule Investing, check him out. He may have some information about Canton. Now that's the 3rd time I got Black Rule Investing. I got Jermaine. I got someone else here who asked me about Canton. That I call an indicator. I'm going to check them out too. So that's what we have with him. Next question from Money Badger. Money Badger, what's going on, Money Badger? What did you say 12 days ago? Thanks for the hope we all need right now and confidence in Plume with all the FUD right now. Thank you, Money Badger. So Money Badger responded to the platform because, it's realistic. We all want to feel good about the things that we put our hard-earned money into, but it's very difficult to feel good when you get so much negative information. I'm actually for negative information as long as it's rooted in common sense. But a lot of times you don't get that. Online every day, in a week, I could get thousands of comments in my videos. I can't see them all. I try to respond to them as quickly as possible, especially my members. But it's very difficult. YouTube will not let all of them go through. There's replies to replies. There's replies to live. There's replies to open chat. You go to CoinMarketCap. You get a lot of data now on the internet. And he was saying that, he looked at one of my videos where I was talking about the value of Plume. And so he's saying, thanks for the hope we all need it right now and confidence in Plume with all the FUD right now. And again, my platform is not for hype. It is not for FUD. My platform is simply a researchable facts platform. The basics. I think my platform has been very successful for thinkers, analytical thinkers, intellects, and individuals who don't want surface level, cursory level knowledge. It's not as big as a platform. If I was to tell you some hype, I put some thumbnails with rocket ships on it. Oh my goodness, it would blow up, folks. That's what I'll have to do. I just have to trade my integrity for likes and shares. I just can't do it. And the reason I can't do it, and I appreciate the compliment, Money Badger, is because it's my belief that at the end of the day, if you have 99% of platforms and content creators telling you exactly what you want to hear, they do you a disservice. In our system of justice today, we have an adversarial system, whether you like it or not. We have a party against another party arguing over the same body of law. And that means that law is not black and white. Law is fluid, it's living. Justice is too. And I say the same thing with research. You have something of value that you worked your time, the company you work for gave you money. Then you come online and you're trying to take the thing of value and increase it. That means you have to invest, and it's possible that you could lose your money. It's possible you can gain your money. Now, I don't have to walk in your shoes to understand that if you're like me, the money that you have is precious to you and it can be used for a lot of different things. So you want to make sure that you invest smartly. And I can't even tell you how to invest. So for me, the only thing you can empower yourself with is knowledge. And I can't always get it right because I'm human, and the data that we get is just as good as we get it. Bad data on the internet, I get bad data. Good data on the internet, I get good data. Who's the data sources? But I try to make it easy for people like Money Badger and yourself so that when you look at the information, all you got to do is check. That's why I got these slides. I'm telling y'all, I said, folks, bring it on your TV because I make this information. It takes me a lot of my time, a lot of my investment, and it takes me doing this work so that you can simply look at it, go back, refer to it. So thank you very much. I'm glad that the information gave you confidence. And some folks, you don't have to agree with me. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm just here to share it with you. But I appreciate those who tell me that this is working for them. So thank you very much. All right. Next, we have the next question. And let me take this down. And let's go to this. So you see it dropping around the token unlock. So yes, I see it. Two parts. Let me answer the question you're asking. Two things. What I said earlier is I see Plume Network dropping after the token unlock. So yes, you're correct. But I do see there's going to be a short increase in value, likely because that's the marketing apparatus online. If I've invested in the company and now we know who is getting their money back, core contributors, early backers, community, and Treasury. We got 4. So we know that of those 4, 3/4 of those individuals, Treasury, early backers, and early investors, they need the price to go up in order for them to pull liquidity out. Now, there's $100 million. So even if they pull out 24 million, which that's between both of them, is about 24 to 25 million just between those two, early backers and early investors. If there's 100 million in a treasury, what does that mean? That's 1/4 of the treasury. So I'm expecting at least a 25 to 30% potential drop in price, which would be around the 0.0080 as was stated earlier. That is speculation based on the data. Now, we haven't got there yet. But if I was them, if I was a company, if I was trying to make sure my investors are happy so they can reinvest, because you want them to reinvest it back into Plume, I would want to try to drive the price up of Plume so that they will see that, hey, you can make your money back and more. That's alpha. Anytime you're on a stock exchange and you go to a hedge fund, you find the hedge fund that can give you alpha. We say that word and we don't understand the connection. The word alpha means that you give back above the expected return in investment, the ROI. So hedge fund managers try to sell their customers alpha. If Plume Network has a way of giving alpha, then one of the ways, not all of them, is to give back a return higher than they expected when they put money in it before they was even created. So yes, I think that the price will go up through their marketing apparatus before the unlock on January 26th. I think that retail investors are going to be scary and they're going to leave the market when it goes down even lower, below the 1 cent mark. I think that the institutional investors will take that opportunity, as we saw before with BlackRock. Your exit is institutional's investment and entry. So when retail investors scare you away, price goes down, institutional rails come in and buy it up. And then we buy the green candles later on when it's worth $1. That is how the mindset is, the psychology. So that's what I think is going to happen. So hopefully that answers your questions. All right, so let's take it off this one. Let's go back to our question at hand. This is what we got. Next question after Money Badger. Let's bring it up. Pierre or Dane 86 Digital 2 weeks ago said, "Thanks, brother. I love your work. Plume has a mascot, the bird. Can I get some stickers? I love it." All right. So that wasn't really a question, but thank you, Pierre Ordain. I appreciate you coming in and giving me a shout out. And I got a lot of shout outs. I appreciate those. I didn't put them all here because, again, I get thousands of comments and it's very difficult to do so, but I'll pick through some of them. So I want to make sure that I addressed it. So I don't have any stickers. But I am a Plume goon. So thank you very much, folks. Thank you, Dane. Let's see the next question we have. Next question is Laura Nichols. Laura Nichols, what's going on? Thank you for being on the channel. What did you have to say? 2 weeks ago, she says, "Wow, the ignorance is still alive. Well said, Mr. Underdog addressed it well. That individual should be totally ashamed of themselves everywhere." And I say haters everywhere. So let me tell you what she's talking about. Thank you, Laura, for your support. A few weeks ago, I did a video about Plume Network. And for the first time in 5 years, and I'm going to address it shortly here, I was hit with the most vile, racist comments that I have seen in my 5 years and over 700,000 views. I want the person to know that they won. If they want to be vile and disgusting, they won it, hands down. And so I made a video about Plume Network because that's the videos they did it on. And I addressed that individual. So they commented, Laura is commenting about that. I'll quickly say this about that situation. At the end of the day, we are all God's children. We are all bound by a higher authority. And you are accountable for your spiritual life. and God sees all. I provide a service. Mostly, this has been free. The paid membership is cents on a dollar. And it takes me my time, it takes me my effort, my expertise, my background, and my care. Because when I started this platform, I created it for people like myself who came from a poor family, who came from a rural area, for a person with a grandmama who may only have 2 nickels to rub together. But if they only had someone who could help them to better understand how to take those 2 nickels and make it into a dollar, it could change their lives. I have helped people go from homeless to being housed. I've helped people who have almost had their houses about to be taken away tell me that they was able to pay that bill in order to keep their home. I've talked to mothers who've lived in their vehicles who told me that they had $20 because of the information they listened to and got for this platform. They was able to have 1,000 and was able to get into a hotel room for them and their children. I've talked to individuals who've been sick with medical bills, who've told me personally that they was able to pay those medical bills, to get medications for people who have severe illnesses that are life-threatening and painful. I've talked to people who've been all over the world, who've commented and wrote me to tell me how they didn't have the same opportunities a lot of people take for granted. And they're able to now be a leader in their own homes. They're able to now to change their life. So I don't need to listen to that one racist individual who has hate in their heart. I need to listen to God and listen to where God tells me what I need to do. I'm not a financial advisor. I am simply sharing with you, those people who deem to listen, a gift that God has given to me to use my mind to research into a topic of technology that can be often difficult and archaic to understand, and break it down in a way that a simple country boy like myself can speak to anybody at any level and them to understand it better. And hopefully that they are able to put themselves in a better position with me assisting them with the information. That's it. So, Laura, thank you very much. I appreciate you. I appreciate that comment. And I just want to say that to all my followers, you are welcome here, no matter what you look like, where you come from. As long as you are willing to be in a space where you can receive information from someone who may not look like you or be from where you're from, then you're okay. And this is a safe space for you here. There is not tolerated on my platform any racism, sexism, or any type of discrimination at all. You can find another place to go. You won't be here, and your comments will not be welcome, and you can have your freedom of speech somewhere else. But in my space, this little plot that I control platform, everybody's welcome. Good comments are okay. Comments that disagree with me are okay. Disrespectful comments, hate comments are not allowed here. So that's what I have to say about that. Thank you very much. All right, let's keep going. We got Flea Market Mixtape. Let's see what Flea Market Mixtape asked. They asked the following thing 2 weeks ago. Dude, Aether is in everything, also linked to Plume. So I don't know what Aether is. Again, just like Canton, I didn't even pull up the screenshot so you can see it yourself, what AETHIR is. But this was a comment. I just want y'all to know. So keep a lookout for Aether. Look it into, Canton and now Aether. Thank you for leaving your comment, Flea Market Mixtape. Maybe I'll find that along my path of research in the future. Here we go. Third Eye Explosion, one of the longest running members on the Underdog Research channel. He is a day one. Y'all, so I was going to shout him out. He's been here since I first started my first video with under 100 people as subscribers. He was one of the 100. So thank you very much. Now we've grown to over 22,500 people, small, modest platform over the past few years. And I always want to shout them out. Let's see what you had to say, Third Eye. Third Eye Explosion 2 weeks ago said, salute. They must not know you're also an investigator. It's sad how people's insecurities get the best of them. So Third Eye Explosion, thank you for the comment. He is referring to also the racist comment, and he's given that support. So I appreciate that. And yes, I don't just play one on TV. I'm an actual investigator. I'm a cyber expert, and I'm also in the field of legal. I put it all together, and I provide you a product. Some people are just content creators. I consider myself a researcher by trade. My education consists of a work in the PhD level, about 2 years worth, a master's degree, 15 certifications, and then a bachelor degree, associate degree, advanced graduate certifications, and then in the field, 22 years and counting. This is all what I try to bring. So although you see Underdog Research channel, I got a real life, a real person, and I try to give you the best information possible. Again, I don't always win. We don't always win, but I am going to give you the information I see. No shield, all hype. Nope, only research. So I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, Derek Hen, let's see what you had to say. Derek Hen 2 weeks ago says, don't let a racist get you down, Mr. Underdog. Just ignore them. And just again, y'all see the theme here. These are individuals who come to show support and who commented on my Plume Network video, which is a short in which they saw or heard me address a racist individual. Derek, thank you very much for that support. And I did absolutely will put the positive before the negative. So, but I appreciate the show of love and support. So thank you, Derek. All right, folks, let's see what you got to say. I'm jumping all over the place. Let's see where we're at here. We are now going to go to the comments in the live. We still got more comments that have been stated before, but I want to be here to answer any questions that I can answer. So see what else you got to tell me here. Here we go. Next question. Randy Espirito. Hey, Randy, we was talking about you earlier. I put you up there earlier. What'd you say? Plume will be leading RWA. Yes, sir. It will be. I think it will be a huge success. That's my personal perspective. Thank you, Randy. I put one of your questions up earlier, so it's good to see you here. Husky Tom, when is the unlock? I brought that up earlier, January 26th of 2026. It looks like it's about 1.4 or 1.6 billion tokens, I think. The largest unlock that I see on the list currently coming up. And that's for the people. Remember, you get money from the early backers. You got money from the early investors. They want their money back, and they're going to have a time schedule. Now, I have a Plume report coming. That doesn't mean it's going to be a bad thing. Some things are going to come out. People might reinvest. I'll be talking about that. But if you want that information, folks, why aren't you scanning that QR code? I done told you all this time, scan that QR code. You don't got 66 cents. You don't need to be in the Plume report. That's what you need to look at. 66 cents a day. Plume report. I got 2 sites. I got a private site. I got a YouTube site. I got it all, folks. I make it easy for you. And so if you want to be a part of the members, scan that QR code, get the Plume report, get other access to exclusive content like no one else can give you. And on my private site, there's no commercials. Like on YouTube, you get commercials. The private site costs me money. All I'm doing is give it back to you in a way you can have value. Content there is not over here. We got a lot of stuff going on there. So make sure you become a part of both so you can get all the information you need from the Underdog Research channel. Now back to our regularly scheduled program, folks. We're going to keep rocking and rolling. Let's see what else y'all said here. You said Water Boulevard, January 20th. So there you go, January 20th. I think I said 26th. So January 20th is the token unlock. Dry powder going to be ready then. Yes, Husky Tom. So a lot of people, if you're like me, you're actually looking forward for price going down because you're trying to accumulate as much as possible for the least amount of money. So that's me. So I'm actually getting excited the more it goes down. It's at like 92% and people are like freaking out, but I'm not. Again, this is finance. This is investments. It's your money, your risk assessment. Everybody's going to be nervous at different levels. For me, I'm liking it, folks. So dry powder is ready. We got Husky Tom. Some people suck. Don't pay attention to those that have hate. True value and love has no color. Thank you, Husky Tom. I appreciate that. Some people can suck. I do agree with you, but I'm with you. Thank you for your support. All right. We got Chester County Country. All right. Let's see. Let's see what this is. Chester County Country. Let's see. Wait a minute. Tridex Exchange 3106. All right. You know, you're going to have to hit me up and find out who this is. Chester County Country. I like that. That hits home. Those who know. All right, folks. Let's see what else y'all have to say here. These are your questions. I'm going to go through every question today, no matter how long it takes, because you took the time to leave a comment on the Underdog Research channel. I'm going to take the time to address it. So let's keep going. Let's see what we got here. Let me go back in time. All right. Let me go up to make sure that. All right. Wait a minute. I'm going to jump through. Okay, here we go. So we was at Derek Hine. Now we got Richard Rich Sr. He says, my brother in arms, I stand with you. He's also talking about the person who left that racist comment on a Plume Network video. And he says, my brother's in arms. So lets me know he's a veteran as well or active duty. I'm a Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. And I bleed red, folks, for the blood that we shed. Thank you, my brother in arms. Thank you very much for service to the country. And everybody's welcome for my service I gave. And I hope that you are continue to be a part of this platform. I have a special place in my heart for military and my veterans because I am one myself. So much love to you, my brother in arms. Hoorah. All right, let's keep going. Let's see who else we got here. We got Alfio Wolf. Let's see what he said. My Bandit 13 2 weeks ago says, you know, when a family tree goes in a circle, stupid comments like this come from stupid people. Luckily, we're as diverse as God created us. Otherwise, we wouldn't live long. Look at dogs, for example. Purebred dogs don't live as long as mixed breed dogs because the same genes can't be bred together. Otherwise, you get disabilities. And that's how racism from stupid people arises. So that was deep. Now, that was in a different language. I had to convert that into English. Don't know where you're from, but I got the message. Thank you very much. He's also addressing, a lot of people addressed. I was surprised. I appreciate y'all standing up with Underdog on that. I wasn't expecting that. I would just want to address that person, but I got so much love back and support from my community who put a hedge around me. And I appreciate you fighting with me and standing up against people like that. His comment was heard. Thank you very much. Alfio Wolf. Awesome. Appreciate you. All right, let's see here. He also said, when will its price hike and how much? So now he's talking about Plume. So again, I don't do speculation, Alfio Wolf. I appreciate your previous comment. I don't do speculation about price predictions because I personally believe it's fake. Now, earlier you just heard me, if you listen to this, that I just gave my thoughts about how the money will flow into Plume based on its token unlock schedule. I didn't tell you what price I thought it would go up to. I actually told you what price I thought it would go down to, the reverse of going up. You know, people give price predictions because it's a trend. It has been on crypto for a while. It allows viewers to come and to add subscribers, but it's totally fake. If we knew where the price of every token would be, we'll be multi-billionaires. Imagine knowing when Bitcoin would go up and knowing exactly when it would go down. Imagine knowing when your token would go up 10%. You could be a millionaire in a day because I could go to every project and say, it's going to go up 10% today, put $1 in, $10 in at one, sell it at 105, go to another one and just keep making money. Price speculation is just that. It's price predictions, and often it's a trend to get you to click. It's clickbait. But communities tend to like it. I don't give it because I know that there's nothing I have analytical-wise that can tell me. Now, those people were going to say, well, what about technical analysis? Technical analysis is based on 1940 stock trading logic. The reality is technical analysis for me is based on my entry and my exits is the best it's used. It's historical information. Again, it doesn't predict the future. It only tells you historical information, and that's affected by research. Research tells me about what happens in the real world. Research tells me about the companies. Research tells me about the people. Let me give you an example. If a company is a Fortune 500 company and their CEO and CFO are caught up in a scam like embezzlement, and then it's broadcasted on the news, technical analysis is not going to tell me that the stock price is going to go down, but I'm going to get my money likely out of that company because I don't want to lose my money and the price of the stock will go down. Technical analysis didn't tell me that. Research told me that. So that's why I don't use technical analysis, Alfio Wolf, for speculation and price, because it's not an oracle. It doesn't give me any realistic current happenings, but my research does. I've been able to help my community get into projects before they ever even are released. I've been able to tell my community about technologies like zero knowledge proofs, which a lot of people don't understand what it is, but he didn't have to know. I explained it to them, and they're able to get into things that made them money. And it's not one bit of technical analysis, it's research. So that's why my trading strategy is more of a research-based versus technical analysis. So I don't have any price predictions, but my belief based on the data is they have a lot of great backers, a lot of money flowing into it. We got a wallet that has 55% of the tokens. Their treasury has over $100 million. How did they get it? Big companies put the money into it. That means big companies are going to take their money out of it, and big companies are going to probably keep their money back into it if they make profit. That's how the world works. So I think it's going to do good. All right. We got red. Now this, y'all got to see this. So Alfio Wolf asked, when will its price hike and how much? And then Red replies to him, Red Game, in 2 days, $1. So they're being facetious, obviously, but they heard me say that in the previous video that I don't do price predictions. So when Alfio Wolf asked, when is the price going to hike and how much? Somebody just made a joke and they said, in 2 days, Plume token will be $1. So I thought that was funny. We got the next person here. We got Mine New York Team Street 79. I messed it up. I want to say that's Mid New York Tim Mist, or if it's all together, it could be Mine Team Mist, or it could be broken down into Mid NY Tim Mist. I don't know, but somebody's going to figure that out for me. This is what they said 2 weeks ago. Next time they try to say anything racist, just tell them the sun kisses are emulanin. I think that's eumelin, and tries to take out humans with phenomenon. I can't even say the words. This is not a racist remark. It's a scientific fact. I didn't look up what that meant. I caught melanin in it on both words, but now I'm going to look it up. So they said it's not a racist comment. I appreciate the comment, whatever it is. I don't know what it means. So just in case it's something I didn't intend to say, I appreciate it. But thank you for commenting. I appreciate all the support about the racist comment. I wasn't expecting that. I really wasn't. But I got a lot of people who stood up, and that gives me hope. That gives me hope for tomorrow, and gives me hope for our community, our country, that people all over the world stood up when someone said something racist. And on one of my Plume Network projects, it gives me some hope. So I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, we have a member, an Underdog member. That these are people who have subscribed to Underdog Research channel, and they're members. So I'm going to bring up their comment. They said, I just bought some Plume on Coinbase. Damn. So this is a Less Square. So Less Square, They said they just bought some Plume on Coinbase. So Plume Network is on Coinbase, ready and available to purchase. And so if you didn't know, now you know. Thank you for being a member of the Underdog Research channel. Hopefully there's some people who join you at the end of this. They press join, subscribe, they like, they become a member like you are, and you get these Plume reports and get more information. So let's keep going. We got next person's question. Muy Mixer. I'm messing up all these names. Hopefully being on Coinbase will help, as it's been on the wallet for a while, which is where I bought. It's going to turn around, right? So I believe that Coinbase is one of the best liquidity providers for Plume. I watched when it was listed on Coinbase. Again, I want to remind everybody, before it ever was even discussed publicly about Coinbase, 5 months beforehand, I started a series called the Connected series. My very first video, and I'm going to pull it up here, was about Plume Network. And I brought up the fact that they were connected to Brian Armstrong and people like Union Square Ventures. And sure enough, Plume Network ended up going on to Coinbase months later. I never said, hey guys, Plume Network is on Coinbase right now. What I did was look for the signs in the data, and we was right about that. We've been right about a lot this year and in the previous years too. I'm going to see if I can pull it up right now, the Connected series for you guys. And if I can, I'll share it with you, but I just think that's important. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah. Let's go to the Connected series. All right. While I'm pulling this up. Yeah, here we go. So I'm about to pull up for you to see this. And it's amazing. That's why I love what I do. I love the research because this is all free. You can come see this for free. You could have got there at the 10 cents. You could have got up to the 24 cents. You could have been there, folks. It's still going to go up even more in my personal opinion based on the data. But let me just show you what I was showing everybody else. Here we go. So here, yeah, there you go. So this is my series that everyone can see on my platform, Underdog Research channel, called Connected Series. Now, I want you to see, I talk about Larry Fink and episode 1, and look at that right there. You see that little icon? Let me just click on it for you.
This AI can forecast U.S. stock.
All right, now it's trying to trip over here. I don't want to show you
this
that.
This is where it says NVIDIA stock will close.
Too many commercials. That's not a surprise. So let's see if I can pull it up, make sure it's still showing. Yeah, it's still showing on your end. Let's go to it real quick. So let's look at the icon. So right there, let's talk about this. This is the very first episode. I talk about the connection that I saw with Larry Fink, BlackRock, Plume, and Mocha. I bring that up. Let's see, did I time code this? I might not have time coded this one. But if we go through it, let me see if I brought up some things that you want to see here. XRP. Yeah, here we go. Right here. I talk about this here. I talk about in this video. Let me pull it up right here. Let's read it. Tokenization is the next logical step for crypto to go mainstream. BlackRock, Franklin Templeton, and JP Morgan are all in. 10 billion to 1 trillion. And this is where I bring up Plume. I then bring up Plume here. Plume, BlackRock's move into blockchain and RWA tokenization. I go further there. I tell you about it, the $0 proof with XRP, but then I bring up January 29th, 2025, that Plume network that you can find that they're connected through the Nest institutional core rails of BlackRock, Build product, Hamilton Lane product, and I show you right there. This is historical. And let's keep going and show you this. I show you a connection right here between Plume in March 12th of 2025 and a project called Mocha, which is a $6 billion company in the Web3 space. I bring up Plume and Chris Yin and how stable coins is a RWA and how the effect of stable coins will be on the market. I bring up Christian here, the Plume CEO. Heck, let's see if I played a little bit of this for you. Let's see if this will play. No, I'm not going to play it for you here. You can go back and watch it. So ultimately, what I'm trying to share with you, let me go ahead and take this off here. All right. Ultimately, my point I'm trying to make is if you look, if you look at this, let me share it one more time. Share this one more time. Yeah. If you look at this right here, you can go through my connected series. This is a free series. You don't have to be a member to see this. And you'll see all these videos going back to the beginning months ago, 4 months ago, 3 months ago, where I'm telling people about Plume before it ever reached some of these heights. And I knew it was going to Coinbase. I knew it was going to what's going to happen. So looking forward in 2026, you might want to look at Coinbase and get some Plume. If you never heard of it before, you might want to look at it, look at the research, let that be a guide. But so, I think Coinbase will be a big catalyst for Plume because it gives access to Americans and others who use Coinbase throughout the world easier. And it's one of the largest exchanges. So we got one negative comment coming up, and I say negative, it means it doesn't have a positive stem. So let's bring it up. All right, this is what we got. Moy Mixer, looks like that's the same person. Moy Mixer. So they made another comment, and I put red meaning it could be considered negative. 2 weeks ago, they said, yet Plume has been doing nothing but going down ever since I bought some. How much has it changed since one of the original developers died a number of months ago? Or was it he was the heart and soul, which is why it's been collapsing ever since? Or has someone else stepped up? Well, I left early to watch Bloomberg Business, the Asian trade, come back and I couldn't find it. Please advise. The comment is at the start of the video. So thank you for the comment. Again, when I say negative, all I mean is that, you asked a question that many people have, but it could be considered a negative sentiment, which is perfectly fine, not disrespectful. It is normal to ask questions, and you should. Let's bring up the question and let me address the questions. Plume has been doing anything but going down. So let's talk about that. And did the person who died, were they the heart of Plume? Now, I do want to bring this up real quick. Let me bring up something before we answer that question, because you said something, and I think it's important for others who may not know what you're talking about to know this one thing. Let me see if I can find it. If I can't, I'll just move on, and I may not be able to find it. Let's see here. No, I don't think I can find it right now. So I'll just address what you said. Now I'm gonna bring this up because this was in my prior video, and I'm gonna bring this up real quick. And before I do that, let me try one more thing. I'm doing this in real time, folks, so bear with me as I do this with you. I want to give good answers. I want to talk about things that others dare not talk about, and that takes me doing a little extra work. So let me look up one more thing, and then I promise you I will address what you said. So what I'm looking at now, and I can't find it. Unfortunately, I can't find it right off the hand, right off back. It's unfortunate. I can't find it. Let me see here. What I'm looking for is he addressed someone who passed away with Plume, and I wanted to talk about that for a second. And I think that's important to talk about. But if I can't, I'll just speak to it. Look like I'm just going to speak to it. So as I look for that in his comment, what has Plume been doing? Plume has been doing what companies wish they could do, and that is securing. There we go. I did find it. Here we go. Yes. All right. Before I talk about what Plume been doing. So if you look on the left-hand side, the individual on the left-hand side is the one who passed away. I talked about him in my previous video on Plume. There's 3 original co-founders. We got Teddy, who's on the far right, Chris, and we have their partner who passed away. Now, his question is, since that person who passed away, who was the chief technical officer for Plume, all he's seen is the project go down. So was that individual the heart and soul of Plume? And that makes sense. I get what he's saying. So I want to address that by bringing this up. The Plume has been busy. In a year that it's been released, it has secured a SEC approval, which has never been done before. It has acquired a company called Dinero. That's a major company for staking of ETH and Solana and also Bitcoin. It has partnered with a product called Elixir to create a product called Nest. Nest serves the people that you see here at the bottom. Build, BlackRock, Build Product, and Hamilton Lane, to only name two. That has a combined total of over $14 trillion. It has a network for both retail investors, vaults for treasuries, high yields, DeFi, real world assets. Plume appears to us to look like crypto. And we've been so harmed by crypto and harmed by individuals who hype everything and then the bottom falls out, and harmed over the last 15 years of being in the crypto market, that we don't know or can't distinguish between a company and scammers and hype. Plume is a company that has major headway in the institutional rails. Because likely you're watching this, you're watching my platform, you are not an institutional investor. You're not a CEO or hedge fund manager of a major billion-dollar company. You don't subscribe to the products. These companies have products that they get access to that us retail investors can't. When you might invest $1,000 and that might be a lot for you, these people are laying down millions and they want a yield, a return on their investment. Plume was built for those people. Let there be no mistake. But they have products that you can access as a retail investor. So while you're looking at them and you think, the price, they're not doing nothing but going down. It's like saying the centralized bank who control the printing of the money, the Fed, is printing American dollars and they have no value. Now, you could argue a point that inflation and the devaluing of the American dollar, but you still know it has value, because as long as you can go to the bank and swipe your credit card, as long as you take out a $20 bill and pay for something and for $20 and it pays for it, there's a value. You wouldn't say, here's a $20 bill, let me tear it up, because it has no value. The price of the dollar is going down, therefore the $20 bill has no value. Plume Network has went down significantly in price, but the ecosystem it has created is to onboard not you as a retail investor. It's to onboard institutional investors, and that's what you want to have happen. I bring this up because when I say institutional investors, when I show you this connection here, what I'm trying to share with you folks is that you got to separate and rethink everything you know about crypto. Plume Network, the network, not the token, is not crypto. They'll tell you it feels like crypto. Let me see if the website still says it. Plume Network is a real world asset. Perfect. Let me show you. I don't have to tell you. They'll tell you. Let me share this with you. Look at this, folks. I'm about to share with you right now Plume Network's website. You don't have to believe me. Let's believe them. What does that say? Read it. RWAs that feel just like crypto. Do you see that? Let me make it bigger so there won't be any mistakes. So when you see this, we're on the same page. It says RWAs, real world assets. Plume, Genesis is live. RWAs that feel just like crypto, transforming assets into globally accessible financial tools with true crypto native utility. I could go to the ecosystem, but we're not going to do that today. Now, the point of that conversation is for you to truly believe them. If someone tells you who they are, you believe them. Plume Network may have a crypto token deployed on an Ethereum-based EVM, but Plume Network is only using that utility token to connect illiquid real-world assets. We're talking about cars, we're talking about properties, we're talking about assets that institutional investors use. So if we're looking for Plume to move like crypto, it's not. It's going to move with the market as people better understand real world assets. Does that make sense? So I want to bring that up because I think it's important because your statement makes sense. Let's talk about the person who passed away. The CTO, it is tragic that he passed away so early and so young, but the company still has to move on. Unfortunately, people live and die every day. And of course, my condolences to his family for the loss of their child and the people who loved him. But as a company, if we're dependent so much on one individual, it's not a company. A company has losses, has attrition, people come, people go. And then a company hires others to do that job to keep moving. Companies must survive. They're living, breathing entities. They're not just walls. A company has to survive. So Plume may have went down, but it's not associated with the loss of their CTO. Some companies may not have stayed in. That's possible. But most people wouldn't know him to even associate a CTO with the company. Companies invest in the product to make money. And companies can invest in a person, but I don't see any correlation between the loss of a CTO in a company for the whole company to be devalued. They found someone else to do that job. Our lives are short. Things happen, but companies have to live on. And we wouldn't want a situation where one person exiting a company causes the whole thing to unravel. Could you imagine that? Look at Stella. Look at XLM. Look at that. People come and go from these companies. That's normal. We want that to happen. It happens. It occurs. Life goes on. But Plume has been very busy. So that's my assessment. It's went down because the market itself, RWAs are a smaller market, and that's normal. Nothing unusual there. So that's my answer to you about that. We're going to go to the next question. This is a response to the question about the person leaving. They said the following: 3 weeks ago, we all have a choice to make. The journey involves discipline. Do they got money to order? Oh, no, let me jump this. I jumped over. This is what it was. This is an Underdog member. This is what they said, and now I'll show you a response. This is an Underdog member. They said L1L 3 weeks ago. Underdog, I need help, man. I have loved ones and peeps that I want to join me on this journey, and they don't have any disposable income. Underdog, I need help, man. And that's what they said. So thank you, L1L, a member of the Underdog Research channel. I appreciate you, and I want to shout you out for being a member. I do want to read a response to you from another subscriber of the channel, not a member, but a subscriber. This is what they said in response to you. We all have a choice. To make a journey involves discipline. Do they got money to order coffee, fast food, buy video games, sneakers, concert tickets, nails, haircuts, Netflix, going out on dates, etc.? If they aren't willing to make sacrifices, they don't want it bad enough. These opportunities are once in a lifetime event. If they truly don't have any disposable income, then they got to figure out how to exchange time for more paper flow. Anything but learning and investing in yourself is an excuse. And that was from VII. Thank you, V. I agree. My response to the comment about the Plume, you're trying to help your family and people. I'm faced with that. We all get faced with that. Not everyone is going to see. And that used to bother me a lot. But at the same time, we all have individual choices to make in our careers, in our life, and we can only help those who want to be helped. One thing that I need to share with you that you can do is take videos like mine, press the share button, send it to someone in your phone each week, send it to all your contacts, send it to your friends and family. It's a law of numbers. If you can't speak to them, maybe they listen to someone else, and maybe they're bored and they press the link and they watch a video that gets their interest. And then that one of 100 people watch. And if that one person watches unexpectedly and they make a decision, they invest and they win, you were a part of that. Sometimes the greatest benefits, the greatest blessings come from the smallest moves that you make. And I think that's something you can do. I agree with V, who responded, though, is that, we all have bills. We all have things to do. But if you got $10, that's $10 that you could potentially put into something that could become $20. If you got $100 a month, that's $1,200 a year. If you flip it into $2,400 a year, that's value. I don't think we all need to think that crypto's gambling and that the next thing you're going to be a big millionaire. Let's think about just life things. I told you about people I've seen who've been homeless that I've helped. People who've about to lose their home, I've helped. People who are starving and they had enough access to get a little extra money and they're not starving. They're able to buy a meal. Wins are individualized. They're not for everybody. Everyone has a different aspect of being well off. So that's my thought. So I appreciate what you're doing for your family. I really appreciate how you're trying to help them, but you can't make anyone do anything, but you can share this information with them. And hopefully they do what you did, become a member. Hopefully they become a subscriber, and hopefully that someone hears this right now and it helps them to put themselves in a position to win in the future. All right. This says Jack Thompson, but at the bottom it says V. So I'm not sure who left a comment. Is your opinion that Plume is better value than Ondo just by price? I'm not sure who asked that. It looks like I made a mistake and didn't change the top. But if it was Jack Thompson or V, I haven't looked at Ondo other than last week on the Plume report. And Ondo didn't have a lot of people in it, but it had a lot of money. So my personal opinion of value is how many people are using the network. It's like cars. Which one's better, a Bentley or a Toyota Corolla? Someone's going to say a Bentley. Why? It's more valuable, but who makes more? How many Toyotas total are made versus how many Bentleys are made? How many people drive Bentleys on a daily basis versus how many people drive Toyota? Value is different depending on the person, depending on the use. I look at value as use. So more companies that use Plume Network and maybe less companies use Ondo. If more companies use Plume Network, then the value to me is more in Plume. If more companies invest higher amounts of money in Ondo, that sounds great, but how's that money being used in the market? How does that affect the company? So Chris Yin talked about this too. He looks at the same way, which I'll talk about in an upcoming video. He looks at value with use. So I think that Plume is a better value because it has over 264,000 holders in the real world assets from what I saw on RWA.xyz. So I think Plume is the better value than Ondo. All right. Let's see what y'all said out here in the chat. I told you we're going to go through all the questions. Y'all thought I was playing with you. We're going to go through all your questions. This will be up so you can go through these too and watch for yourself. I'll time code them so that you can go through the questions that are interest to you. But I want to make sure that I put this out here for you. Let's see here. Now we're going to take this off. We have just about 10 more, let's say less than 10 questions left. And then any questions you have in the chat. So make sure you leave your questions if you are interested for me to answer them. Okay, Water Buffalo 8. So you see it dropping around the token unlock, and I already answered that. Yes, I do see Plume dropping around the token unlock. Randy, Plume is the leading RWA. We talked about that. I agree with you. It is. When it's unlocked, we talked about that. I think that we got these January the 20th. We talked about that. Dry powder waiting. I think I went over all these. I'm going to jump down to the bottom. Here we go. Underdog, can you do a quick recap on partners of Plume? Thank you from the white brother from another. Oh, my goodness. I appreciate that. Let me do this. I can't do a complete recap, but I will go to plume.org. That was funny. I'm going to plume.org, and let's show you the partners of Plume really quickly. And I don't have a problem doing that. Let's go to Plume partners because there's so many. Let's see here. I'm looking through this. So I told you, here we go. All right. So I'm about to share my screen with you. And let's take a look for ourselves. And we're going to go to Plume Network. Now, this is not all of them. This is the backers. So we got Brevin Howard, which I've talked about before, a hedge fund billionaire, Apollo, Galaxy, YZ Labs, Han, Lightspeed Faction, Superscript, Hasskey, Laser Digital, Salini, 280 Capital, A Capital, SVA, Animoca Ventures, Porter Ventures, F Prime. We also got other individuals. Let's keep going because that's only some. We got BlackRock, Hampton Lane, PIMCO, Blackstone, Apollo, UBS, with 200 partners, pipelines through Black Opal. We got Anime, Simplify, Casu, Invest Corp, Mountain Protocol, PIMCO, Hans Henderson, DigiFit, Hampton Lane. These are 200 ecosystems in crypto, 5 billion assets. So as you can see, it will be very difficult to try to name them all, but those are all individuals who are connected to the overall ecosystem of Plume. So how many meme coin projects you see have those backers? How many other cryptocurrency projects, real big ones, have those backers? We're getting into something before it becomes big. That's where you want to be. You don't want to wait until you see it on the news and everybody and their mama jumps in on it. You're understanding and seeing value before it happens. It's like being an oracle. You're speculating based on the research where you think it's going to be, not where the price action is, but where do you think it will be in the ecosystem of people using it. So that is some of the people in it. Aussie, HBAR, or Plume. So again, I think those are two different products. I'm familiar with HBAR, but what I don't want to do, Aussie, is a lot of people have this competitive nature where it's and we're used to it. Ethereum versus Bitcoin, Zilliqa versus XRP. We do tribalism, but as I showed you there's 200 ecosystems that Plume is connected to. There's big backers into Plume. There's big companies in the rails. So it's hard to compare these products, but I can tell you this, Plume is specialized in real world assets. It is one that I'm not going to personally miss out on that I think that you should know about. So That's my thoughts on that. Y'all, I've been DCing into ZK Sync. All right. Now, I'm not going to talk about it today, but zero knowledge proofs is a technology for privacy and security. Again, it's not about the coin, it's about the industry. And now Husky Tom is talking about ZK Sync, a particular token that uses that technology that I've talked about. And we'll talk about that on another conversation. We got on the connective tissue. That's a series I have. Thank you, Husky Tom. The connected series, connected tissue. I talk about this product, Plume, and also zero knowledge technology. So you can see that there. And Husky, oh, $5, appreciate it. Look, folks, that is 1/3 of almost, 1/3 of a membership right there. Thank you. Thank you for all you do, sir. Research is key. Love Plume, but got anything new with ZK Sync lately? Not on this one, Husky Tom. This video is going to be exclusively for Plume, so I don't intermingle the conversations. But I will be doing more on zero knowledge proofs. And if my community, I'll do a vote. If you want me to do ZK Sync, I'll put it out there for other ones. If you vote to do it, then I'll do it. So I'm trying to help you to get the information you need. So I'll look into that for sure. Phantom Beat, there is much to choose from, can drive crazy. Absolutely. Good to see you, Phantom Beat. All right, folks, we're going to go back to our final questions. I really appreciate y'all sticking with me. I've been here for over 2 hours now. That's how much love I got for you, folks. I didn't plan to be here for 2 hours, but now that I've been here for 2 hours, I hope that you enjoy this. I will time code this video and then break it up in smaller parts so you can watch it in more succinct way and then have to be here for 2 hours. All right, so let's keep going. Let's see where we left off at. Right here. We got Plume and Ondo. So I want to bring up, the question was, do you think Plume is better than Ondo? I said I think Plume may do better because it's a larger network, but it doesn't really matter because Plume partnered with Ondo to expand real-world assets by integrating Ondo's USDY and yield coin with over 450 million total lock value. Plume Network will offer users access to a stable yield-generating asset backed by U.S. Treasuries. Ondo's institutional-grade financial products will complement Plume's RWAs-focused infrastructure, providing users with a more comprehensive and efficient platform for investing and interacting with real-world assets. January 1st of 2025, partnership was announced, which I talked about. So that's an example of what I'm saying. They're not tribal. We're not competing. They're working together. So if you get Ondo, that's great. But Plume is working with Ondo. So why not just get Plume? They're already connected in an ecosystem. Ondo's USDY, which might be a stable coin, yield coin, is connected to Plume's network. So that's what I'm saying. If Ondo does good, Plume will do good. That's how this stuff works. They're not fighting against each other. They complement each other. We got E. What's going on, E? Also a longtime subscriber. And he said, Mr. Baby Ears, good time to buy Plume for investors. I also agree with that. That's my personal perspective. I'm not telling you to buy it, but that's what I believe. Thank you, E. We got Phantom Beat. You'll see him here. That's what he said. Phantom Beat says, the rails are almost done being set. Once these institutions have in writing what they can and can't do, money will flow. Absolutely agree with you. Folks, 2026, Plume has big plans. 2025, they just got started and they got a lot of big backers. It's up to you, but I'm giving you this information in my series. Press join right now. Become a part of the membership. You can be a subscriber. That's fine. You'll get good information, but the memberships, you'll get these reports. They won't be 2 hours long, though. They're going to be 15 minutes to 30 max, depending on what conversations. My videos are typically 15 minutes long. My memberships might go in more depth. It'll be 30 minutes, but you won't have these long videos like this. This is a live, so I'm going to answer your questions. So this is longer than usual. Just want to put that out there. But the rails are being built, folks. Now, do you see it after watching the research? Can you go verify that what I'm saying is what you see? If you don't see the same thing, don't put your money into it. This is for you to help you do your research so you can make the best decision possible for your money. I can't tell you if it's going to win. I can't tell you if it's going to lose. All I can do is share with you my knowledge, my experience, and what I'm seeing. And then you have to put the information together. Research over the hype. All right, we're going to the last four. We're almost done, folks. I'm parched. I'm parched. But that's why I'm going to do this once a month because it's important to go through these questions because now you have a resource that you can go back and check. But I want to make sure I do it for you. So this is what I have. VII said is people don't want to take the time to learn and understand the value of where they place their money. They want instant results. Absolutely. So all the questions are coming from Plume Network videos. So he is saying that you may not know, and if you don't want to take the time to learn, then you just want instant results. You won't understand it. You see price action below 2 cents. You see this red candles and you think it's bad. You don't have a reason other than the price action. That is your core value. Here, we take core value from other factors. We do analytics, sentiment. We look at data. We look at articles. We look at news. We look at scientific research. We look at what the co-creators saying. We look at who's connected. We look at companies. There are so many variables and data out there. It is a shame that some people only use one, price action. And then when it jumps up, I promise you, my videos will be the top watched videos on Plume. The moment Plume goes back up to its all-time high, every single person who bought it right now, just imagine that. If you get in at 2 cents and it goes to 24 cents, you got a 12x. Every single person who saw this flash on their video screen, who watched, who heard the word Plume, are going to go and start watching and buy it at 25 cents. And every single person here who saw it, who took a chance, who took the risk, who understood it, who knew what they had, and on their own took accountability for their actions, bought at under 2 cents, got a 12x, they're going to say, I got the same thing that this person got, but I got it for 12 times less, and I was able to take $1 and turn it to 12. I want you to understand that's what that means. I'm not saying it's going to go there yet. All I'm trying to say is if you get a 12x for every dollar you spend at this rate, if it goes up, you'll get $12 in return. Now, if it goes up to 10 cents, for every dollar that you spend, it has potential of going up $9 more right there. About that balance. You get my point. My point is you're going to make more than what you put in. Now, at the same time, you take the risk. If it goes below that and you choose to sell at a loss for every dollar you put in, if it goes down to half of that and it goes to a penny and you buy it at 2 cents and it goes to a penny, then you're going to have 50% of your money. If it goes from a penny to a half a cent and you sell it at a half a cent, you take responsibility for it because you're going to have a 1.5 less. So you're going to look at about 25 cents. Your entry is your own. Your losses are your own. Your wins are your own. Not one person going to come back and give Underdog anything if you make $100,000. I have not yet seen anybody come back and say, Underdog, all the money I've made over the years, here's 10%. Never has happened. So I don't expect it to happen. So I get nothing out of it. So I want to make sure that you are understanding the risk and the potential for Plume. And that is your choice. You have to take accountability for your actions. So I just want to make sure I put that out there. Hero Tanami, this is what he says. Only strong tokenomics projects will survive and thrive. So I don't know. I think that could be possible. Strong tokenomics is important. But at the same time, that's if we look at it from crypto. It tells you it's not crypto. It feels like crypto. But if the companies do well, they invest more money. The tokenomics could suck. But if you're in it and the project go up in price and the tokenomics suck, you still make a profit. No matter how you look at it, at the end of the day, if the project token goes up because the institutional investors are investing their billions into the market, into this project, or using the project, we don't think about that. We only think about retail. They use it, they put more money in the ecosystem, it raises the value. That also is beneficial. So yes, I get what you're saying. It could change instant gratification, but at the same time, if the tokenomics fit the institutional investors and that's their target, I think is great tokenomics. We got Molly Mixer says the following: the corp get paid, not the retail. Now I put that in red because they were pretty upset from what I saw that Plume is doing exactly what they said they are doing. They are for the institutional investor. I'm going to tell everybody, Plume is for the institutional investor. Cut it out, clip it, put a note. Plume is not for the retail investor. Now, with that being said, will they take retail investor money? Yes, they will. They have Nest product, which I'm not going to go into. Watch my Connected series. The Nest product is so that retail investors can get exposure to what institutional investors have exposure to, which are products like BlackRock Build, Hampton Lane, Blackstone, what we've been talking about. But ultimately, it is for the institutional investors. So here's another red flag. So I think this is appropriate. If you're looking for instant gratification with Plume, in my personal opinion, do not get it. Don't get it. Stay away from it. Look for a meme coin. Look for something that is talked about. Go to find somebody, your best influencer. They'll put a little rocket ship right by a token. You can find it on the internet easy. Follow that if you want instant gratification. If you want something that in the next 5 years could be very valuable, if you want something that has the potential of exploding to heights that we can't even imagine or fathom because we've never had this happen before. We've never had a SEC approved transfer agent cryptocurrency. Plume is the first. We've never seen this happen before. We have no idea what could happen. If you want to take the risk for the reward, then Plume might be the option for you. But make sure you hear what I said. You must take the risk. That's up to you. No one can tell you to or not to. I am taking the risk. That's what I'm going to do. You do what you feel is in your best interest. All right. And the last question. Woo! Folks, that took a long time. I'm going to get you. This is the last question from y'all's conversation with me. And this is it. And then I'm going to go to the channel. And then we are finally finished with this long conversation. The Crypto Crossroads Show says the following. Underdog, have you come across IXS on your RWA, real world assets, and Coinbase research? Coinbase Ventures invested in IXS real world assets, which is working with BlackRock, Securitize, Circle, Franklin Templeton, Red Belly, and so on. IXS. Thank you for Crypto Crossroads. So far, to answer your question, you were the first to mention IXS. I have not personally seen IXS on my research. I also haven't been looking for it, but in the last several months, I have not looked for it. IXS. Now that you've brought it to my attention, if I find it, I will look at it. I typically, when I research everybody, I put myself in a silo. I don't listen to other influencers, content creators. I don't go look at other people's videos. I research in a silo so I don't get biased. We all have biases, but I don't want any positive or negative biases. And that way, when I finish my product, I present it to you. Then I look to see what people are saying afterwards, because that helps me to focus on the project at hand. So now, what have we learned today? We learned about our project earlier. I think so. AELIXR. Someone brought it up. We heard Canton 3 times, probably twice, but we heard 3 times. I told you Black Rule Investing, talking about that. And now Crypto Crossroads Show, who's also a content creator, has just brought up another one called IXS. So in those 3, by design of how I research, I have not seen those projects come up. But now that they brought it up, this might be something for you to explore. Folks, remember at the very beginning of this conversation, 2 hours ago, I told you that during the course of my research, I found these projects right here. Let me see if I can find it here. Where are they at? I found these projects right here. Plume, the B2 network, Polygon, Alt Layer, IG Layer. I saw some significant connections in the RWA space and connections with Plume directly. That is what I'm talking about. That is what he's talking about. As I research, if I see other projects that have more than 1 degree of significant connection, I like to bring it to you. Now I'm going to start bringing it out as a product that I provide to my members so that you can look, because as you make your portfolio diverse, you might need to know that Polygon is a huge player in the RWAs, and Polygon and Plume have some overlap, lots of overlap. So if Polygon does good, Plume is likely to go good, but Polygon price may skyrocket up. And while you have Plume, it might be needing to know that you probably should look at Polygon too. B2 network. A lot of people didn't know about that. I did a video about the huge players in the B2 network, but I also have now put you on notice that I found while investigating 255 projects in Plume, I found that the B2 network has a significant connection to Plume. No one's talked about it. And that has huge players that overlapped. And some of the big overlaps are these right here. And zero knowledge technologies, you heard that word before? I brought that to you, is connected, but also real world assets and the future of what is happening. If you see these projects blow up, don't say I didn't tell you. B2 network, Polygon, Alt Layer, IG Layer. Could happen tomorrow, could happen in 5 years. All I'm saying is this is not coincidence, these overlaps. So IXS, I have not seen while I've done my research, but now I'm on notice. Canton, I have not seen while I've done my research, but now I'm on notice, and now you're on notice too. So that is the last curated question. We went through a lot, starting with the very first question about this wallet that had 55%. This was addressed right off the bat by CJ Treble. First question on the Plume network. We addressed that, and I brought you through the Underdog way to answer that question. I went through every significant question. I didn't get all of them out there, but the most over the course of the last several months that you've asked, accumulate them together, made a visual for you and answer your questions. And now I've been talking back to you to find out what you've had to say live. So I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, as you see my research, there was a typo right there. That is 100 million in that wallet, not 100,000. My apologies, but you can see that the visual shows you that clearly, but the up part doesn't. So just let you know. Often I see my research on other people's platforms and they don't credit me for it, and that's fine. You know, my private network is private for a reason. But listen, folks, you see my little icon there? If you see the icon, it's not a coincidence. That's the Underdog stuff. Now, people try to remove it and they do all kind of stuff to make it theirs. I appreciate that people are using it. I've seen it on big platforms with millions of people. I've seen it on small platforms. Listen, I put a lot of time, effort. But if you don't want to take someone else's work and try to steal their work and time, and you really want to get it from the source, be a member on the Underdog Research channel. I'm going to put my QR code up here right now. I have 2 sites, and then I'm going to get to your last questions. The first site is my members only for YouTube. It's going to have commercials. I can't control it. It's a part of the program. You have to sign up for it. All your comments are always seen. Unfortunately, it is censored by YouTube. That is what we have. And that's what I have to offer you. It's 66 cents a day, $19.99 a month for the max research level at the analyst level, gives you access to exclusive content. The second one, though, is one I prefer that you can get access to. It is the private site that is a off site called Uscreen. That is a paid site. I pay thousands of dollars a year to run this site. This site has content that is not always on YouTube. It's for members. And what I do, as long as you tell me, because you have to tell me, if you get the membership at the highest level on YouTube, instead of you paying for two sites completely, this is what I do for you. Pay attention, folks, because some folks are not doing this and they don't realize it. I have my members there. I have my members here, and some are intermingled. So this is what I do. I don't want you to get too far into doing two sites. I make you pay one price for two sites. So if you get the analyst level, the highest level on YouTube, and you also want to be a member of the private site, let me know. My email is in the description on my profile, and also on the site. Email me and say, Underdog, I'm a member at the analyst level, and I also want access to the site. Then I will give you a coupon code after you have signed up, which will take off 100% of the cost that it costs you on YouTube. Thereby, you're paying the difference between the two. You might be billed here, you might be billed there, but then you'll get a discount on the back end on the private site, 100%, $20 if that's what you're spending there, $20, and you'll get a $20 a month discount. Thereby, you're only paying the difference between the two sites. I know that might seem confusing, but I do have people who are on my YouTube, who are on my private site, and I just want everybody to have value. It's not about the money, it's about the value. So email me, Underdog. I'm signed up as an analyst level, and I also want your site. Pick the program you want to be in, and then I will give you a discount code so that on this private site, it takes off the amount of money that you spent on YouTube, thereby only paying the difference between the two sites and getting access to any training we have, special reports I put on there, which all start next week. So if you get now, next week it starts, going into new year, you're going to have the Plume report, you're going to have special Swift products, you're going to have different projects I talk about that I don't put on YouTube right there. So scan that QR code. Now, folks, we're ending this out. Now we're going to go to your last questions live. I hope that I've been here for 2 hours and 26 minutes. I wasn't planning to be here 2 hours and 26 minutes of my life, but I did because I wanted to answer your questions. So let's get to the last and final ones, and I appreciate you being here. All right, so here we go. We got Husky Tom Husky Tom. Folks, this is what I want to see. Why do I want to see more of this? Y'all see that Husky Tom just became a YouTube member, so he gets access to the site. He pressed join. He scanned the QR code. Welcome to the family. You went from a subscriber to a member on the Underdog Research channel. Thank you very much. And if you want the private site, just let me know. I'll get and email me, folks. I'll be happy to help you. Welcome to the members. So I appreciate you joining and becoming a member today, Husky Tom. Husky Tom, you do. Thanks for all you do. I got to roll out. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too, Husky. Happy New Year. All right. I think this is it. Bro J, peace and greetings. I hope all is well. Thank you for the outstanding time and energy. This is from Jody Pope, 3484. Let the video ride. Everything you said was valuable. Can you say how to best utilize your Plume? So thank you. First of all, Jody is also, y'all see that circle? He's also a member. So thank you for showing up as a member at the analyst level. I appreciate you. Jody, this is my thoughts on the best way to use Plume. So there's a thing called looping for retail investors that you can do. I'll talk about that in a second. There's the utility coin, and then there's staking. These are the three options for you as a retail investor. Now, this is not for the institutional investors because they can actually use the network for products. We're not going to address that. Here's how you can do it. If you go to plume.org, there's an option there where you can see the many benefits that they have. For example, they have a product called Nest. Now, Nest is a product that allows you to get yield from institutional investors that you could not get before. So you couldn't invest in BlackRock per se, the products that they offer their customers because you're not a big bank. But through the Nest, you can take your Plume, convert some of it to PUSD. That's the stable coin for Plume. And then you can use some of those to go into these different Nest vaults. Some have different returns, different risk that are coming from the institutional side that you have to look at to see which one's best for you. Now, if you invest in that, it's stable. And at the end of the year, you can get more money out because you have a very safer way to make money. Some yields will be higher depending on the risk of that portfolio that you invest in. Some will be lower. Now, one of the things I think is important that we know about these yields is that you can loop as well. Now, as regulation continues to pass, such as the Genius Act, and we already have the Clarity Act that's coming, we are going to have different options in the US. But in other places, there's going to be even more options. Looping would be like this. Imagine going to the bank, you get $100 from the bank, and you said, listen, I want to use this $100 that you gave me on loan that I borrowed. They're like, well, you can. Use it for where you want to, but I don't want to lose the $100 I have in my bank account. So let's make that $1,000 so make it easier. So you go to the bank and say, I have $1,000 I want to put in the bank. Here you go. You deposit $1,000. Now the bank says, I still need to spend it though too. So instead of you losing your money, you say, I'll lend you bank the $1,000, but can you give me something in return? The bank gives you something that says, I owe you $1,000. And we owe you $1,000 in Ethereum. Here you go. And you can go to any of the banks that we work with, and you can use this $1,000. And any of the banks who own the grocery stores, gas stations, anything that they own, your $1,000 is good with us there. That way, you don't have to lose the $1,000 you loaned us. We give you back something in return. So you say, wait a minute, you gave me $1,000? Yes. I loaned you $1,000. Yes. My $1,000 can only be used in an ecosystem in which you say I can use it in. Yes. What if I take that $1,000 in Ethereum you gave me and I go to bank number 2 because y'all are partners? You can do that. What if I put that money into a product they have and it gives me back 25% return in 6 months? You can do that. You mean to tell me I can take $1,000 that you gave me in Ethereum and I gave you $1,000 of my money? I can take the $1,000 you gave me in Ethereum and go over to bank number 2, and that bank number 2 would take that $1,000 and they'll put it in a account for 6 months and they'll use it. And at the end of it, they'll give me back 25% yield. So now I have $1,250. Yes. That's crazy. I want that. That's called looping. Plume allows you to loop DeFi products just like that. And they allow the institutional investor to do it too. You don't lose your money at the end of it. You have different risk about the yield you'll get back, but at the end of it, you give a different product and you can keep looping, investing, and use some, spend some in the ecosystem. That is another way to use Plume. So then you got the staking, of course. You take your Plume, you stake the Plume, and you keep it in stake for a certain amount of time. You can unstake it when you need to, if you need to use liquidity, and then you get a return on that investment. So I just gave you 3 ways other than just holding a utility coin, buying it low and selling it high. Looping, staking, and investing in the utility token. So that's some different ways you can use Plume. And how you use it, I can't give you financial advice, Jody, but that's a way that I know that people can use it in a lot more ways. And that's all going to be covered on the Plume Report. All right. That is everything. Goodness gracious, folks. 2 hours, 32 minutes talking about Plume. This video will be time coded, but don't worry. I'm going to go through this video. We're going to break it down, and I will give you a series of shorter videos breaking down this live so that you can get to the questions, and maybe that can help you. It'll be on the public site of the Underdog Research channel. Here's the QR code. Be like we saw earlier. Join the channel like Husky Tom. Become a member like he did today. And I hope that you all can learn and gain something from this today like he has. And I appreciate you all being here. Now, if there's no other questions, a brother's tired. A brother is tired, and I'm going to get off here. I see no final questions in the chat. And without that, thank you for watching Underdog Research Channel. And until next time, this has been the Underdog Research Channel talking about the Plume Network. This was Community Questions. Take care and
Aye. Be the plume goons to start down, need permission, I stay real with it. Lay one foundation, know it's gon' build, bro, I been biddle with it. Your homeboy check the cash out, smart contracts for the cash out. Everybody want smoke till I turn the dare, show you where the house at. Spun the block, turns out I be in Black Rock. Protocol, treasuries, bars on me, got them padlocked. Been the best out, they can imitate. Get the best out, then you integrate. Ask Kondo, who Rambo, drew first blood, boy, I be the great. Everybody think they star, boy, I'm in orbit. Stella still, hella Stella though. I like Swift better for the corporates. I'm the enterprise, I took Nas, Hamilton on chain. Zero knowledge, always never improvise. The White House, know my name.